Jeez, boys, my hair is getting long. It's getting really long. But what's going on, guys? It is your boy, TK the Orchard here, back again here on PlayStation Source. And we got some juicy things over the weekend that I really did want to give my 2 cents on and give my opinion. I really want to know what you guys think as well about these whole, going on here with, of course, the PS5 controller. And so there's been a lot of interesting comparisons that have been put side by side between the patents from the PS4 controller, the Dualshock 4, and of course, the new controller, which will be most likely dubbed the Dualshock 5, and is for the PS5. And so there's some interesting things that I just wanted to point out here involving these two controllers. And it could mean a lot of different things for VR and for, how you charge the controller and a bunch of other things as well. So without further ado, let's go into the comparison of the patents for the PS4 and now the new Dualshock 5 controller. Now let's go on to the controllers. And so obviously let's go over what we already know about the PS5 controller, because it sounds really cool, right? Like we have a bunch of things that we went over on that cross circle episode where we went over the new news that we got from the controller and different things about PS5 as a whole. I believe that was episode number 53 or 54, I forgot which one, but we have a dedicated cross circle about this info, as well as in the episode we detailed some things about the DualShock 5. And so just to go over some of those quickly, it will of course have USB Type-C charging, which we will see that in the actual patent. We have adaptive triggers as well as rumble feedback with the triggers as well, so that'll be really cool as well for the new DualShock 5. And so that's already been there, but there were also some questions as like, will the light bar still be there, and stuff like that. So we'll have to address those right here in these. And so this came out a few days ago. Like I said before, it was officially patented in a Japanese court, and they have the patent there. And we have a really good look. I want to show us first the comparison between DualShock 5 and DualShock 4. So we have DualShock 5 on the left and DualShock 4 on the right for our comparison's sake here. Now it looks like the controller overall is getting a size increase. It definitely looks a little bit bigger. I'm not sure if that is because of how the actual schematics are drawn and how they're shown on, but it looks like they are like supposed to be kind of 1-to-1 and kind of have a nice little comparison sake. And so with DualShock 4, it does look a little bit shorter from DualShock 5, which I'll accept a size increase in the controller. For me, honestly, the DualShock 4 for me is perfect. Honestly, I have no complaints about DualShock 4 other than the battery. I know like a lot of people say that, and in previous times I've talked about the battery life. I've definitely been on the side of like, I don't have an issue with the battery on the DualShock 4, but now that I'm playing through these longer games, I definitely see the need for a bigger battery, or at least a better battery life. So I can see that standpoint. So hopefully with this bigger frame, we can fit more batteries in there, have a better battery life on the controller. That'd be cool. But there's also some differences that I wanted to point out as well. One of them being the analog sticks are supposedly going to be a little bit smaller. I think in the in the overall circumference size, which is not the biggest thing in the world, but other buttons that I believe are still going to be retained are of course the touchpad, and it looks like the touchpad got a little bit bigger, and there's also like a little black top line on the touchpad on the DualShock 5. Not sure if that's a speaker grill. That's what I initially thought it might have been. Maybe like a additional speaker grill, or maybe it's a mic at that, maybe for something, or maybe that's what my bet is. It's probably a little bit more speaker grills for any sort of audio that comes out of the DualShock 5. And of course we have the speaker grill that already was on there with the PS4 iteration, as well as the home button is in the same position. There's also this little down lip that it keeps consistent on the back of the controller as well. I'm not sure what that is, and obviously, and a better look at how bigger the DualShock 5 might be is definitely on the second row where we have the side by side, because it definitely looks a lot bigger from that standpoint. Just a little bit more meatier. It looks also like they shortened the length of the handles. I'm gonna get my controller right now just to give you all a little little on demo, but it looks like the actual stems of the controller down here. Ooh, Jesus, Kevin. I'll try my PS4. It looks like they're shrunken a little bit, so I think maybe that could be a thing with DualShock 5, which is interesting, just interesting. And again, we're just comparing these drawings. Like, we don't know how it's actually gonna look until we see it. But interesting things here that we see here as well. Interesting things that we see here is, of course, USB-C. I like that. Faster charging, all that good stuff. I love USB-C. Very, very good stuff. We also have bigger triggers, it looks like. That was kind of detailed in the patent as well, but it looks like the L1 and R1, at least those two buttons, are becoming a little bit thicker and wider. That's cool. I like that as well. But the most notable thing is that there's no light bar supposedly on the DualShock 5 patents, and so it looks like they're doing away with the light bar. Obviously, the light bar was a very, very big thing with PS4, right? A very, very new thing. And while in the early days of the PS4, when they were first unveiling the PS4 as a console and showing off the DualShock 4, they did dub that the light bar was so that you can know which controller is with which player. And so, like, player 1 would be blue, so your controller would be blue, etc. Red, I think you could turn red, green, yellow, all that good stuff. But it looks like now, well, that's how it was at first. And then, of course, when the PSVR came out, it got out that the reason why the light bar is intentionally there was so that the PSVR can track the movements of the controller via the reflection of the screen. Oh, no, via the camera. So I think that's what it was. And so that way the PSVR could track the movements of you or the controller. That's why the PSVR headset has those lights on there, is for tracking purposes. And so now it looks like they won't be doing that anymore, or using that technology with this. And so it's very interesting because that was like the main point of the light bar. It was mainly, at first it was for controller, saying which controller is with which person, but also now is for PSVR as well. And so I'm really interested to see how they're gonna deal with tracking now of a controller. Is it just through Bluetooth? Is it through something like that? Like, is it that's what's probably gonna have to be. Like, it's probably gonna not be with the light anymore. But another thing also that's a really big benefit that a lot of people have been saying is that without the light bar, I'm sure the DualShock 4 battery would last so much longer. And I'm sure this light always being on, and yes, you can dim it. Mine is dimmed, but it still does run out, pretty quickly. You know what I'm saying? So it looks like now we will be able to actually have a controller that doesn't have this light and is consistently, draining battery. So, which is also a good thing as well. But there's honestly not much a lot. I mean, I guess what I'm really excited for, right, is that the DualShock 5 isn't anything that is drastically different from the DualShock 4, when it's all said and done. Yes, we don't have the light bar. Yes, we do have an overall bigger controller, which is cool. Yes, we do have the, it looks like a thicker touch bar. I don't know why on Twitter this weekend I saw it was presumed to be a touchscreen. That sounds insane. I would not put a touchscreen on that, because how are you gonna, address the point that the DualShock 4 controller drains so fast and then put a whole ass screen on DualShock 5? I really doubt that. I'm pretty sure it's just gonna stay like a touchpad. You know what I'm saying? And we have smaller thumbsticks and everything, but overall, of course, USB Type-C. We like that. The rumble, adaptive triggers. Overall, DualShock 5 is looking to be a very, very comfortable controller, at least for me. You know what I'm saying? It's looking really nice, because I loved the DualShock 4's form factor. I love this controller. I think it feels great. It feels great to play like a bunch of different games. It just works for me, right? But let me know what you guys want to see as well. I mean, I'm very interested to see what are you guys wanting with the DualShock 5 controller. Do these patents look good to you? Do they look horrible? What do you want from DualShock 4 that's not in DualShock 5? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. And make sure also, while you're down there, to check out our description where you can find our different links, our Twitter as well as our Discord. Join those, follow those. We're always in the Discord, you know, chilling, hanging out. Definitely join the conversation as well while you're down there. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it as well as hit subscribe to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.